Hello, beautiful people. How are you today? It's good to see you live again. And if that's your first time you see me live or you find this video on a replay, my name is Natalia. I am an inner mastery consciousness mentor. And today I will talk to you about the stages of ascension in consciousness, all based from my own experience and from what I see in my clients going through the process. And I had these conversations a few times this week because it's very important that people realize where they are on a journey or on a spiritual journey, because it's quite easy to for the mind to tell you things that are not there, and to see if there is more to know or not, although you will never know if there is more until the time that you know it. So this conversation will be about actually giving you some indications. These are only the indications because nothing is set in stone. There are no rules for ascension. It's just that that in the if you want to take the approximation of how the process is happening, yeah, that would be the approximation. But the process is not linear. So it's not that you can, get a set boundary when one stage ends and when another stage begins. But you can give some indications. So in this conversation, in this live, I will give you these indications. And if you happen to see me live, please say hi, say who you are, where you're from. I'm always happy to meet new people, and of course those who I know already. And if you find this video on a replay, please hashtag replay and let me know if you have any questions, comments, or anything at all that you want to share. Okay, so back to the subject of ascension in consciousness. In reality, there is no such thing as ascension in consciousness. Very important. There is no higher consciousness tomorrow. Consciousness is, and it is now. But having said that, from the position of an individual consciousness, you do go through stages. So we speak about stages, that's fine, because this is the process that is experienced by an individual. But the ultimate reality that is that there is no ascension in consciousness. That is the ultimate reality and the ultimate truth. And there is no spiritual path as well. Yeah, so that is the ultimate truth. But we can talk about these things from the position when you are still a recovering consciousness. Let's put it in this word. Recovering consciousness is the consciousness that is awakening from a dream. So there are no such things as stages of ascension in consciousness, but there is such thing as awakening from the dream. Yeah, you can say it means the same thing, but it's very important that you have this distinction that you are simply awakening from the layer of the dream that you believe is real. Yeah, so, and if I had to give you an analogy of the process, that would be, hi Jenny, well, great to see you live. So if I had to give you an analogy, it would be like a layered cake. Yeah, the layers of cake. So you are not going outward there, you are going deeper inward. And each layer you experience is taking you deeper, 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 deeper inward into the center of yourself. So let's take an example. So the first layer, yeah, the top layer of the cake is the personal self, the idea of that you are a person that has certain history, that has certain attributes. So the personal self is also called as ego or I. So that is the stage when you are completely identified with your thoughts, with your emotions, with everything, the things that are happening around you, with your past, with your history. Now, awakening happens when you start developing awareness. Awareness, in my definition, is awareness of the senses. So the first stage, which is awakening stage, is developing awareness of everything that is happening with you. So you develop the awareness of your thoughts, you develop the awareness of your emotions, you develop the awareness of any tendencies you have, how you react to things. So you start to become aware that you are aware actually, because in the first layer of the personal self, people are not aware of the fact that they are aware. Yeah, they simply live their life, they are conscious, but they are not aware of the fact that they are conscious. So that is the first layer. Yeah, and this is the layer which causes the most limitations and suffering, because this is the layer where you are uh, most conditioned and are ruled by your past, predominantly by your past and by your subconscious mind. And subconscious mind is a very deep, 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 and it includes all the subconscious beliefs and concepts that you acquired from your parents, from the society. Everything is there. So it's a very deep, 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 deep thing. And in this layer where you are just awakening, you are still predominantly ruled by your subconscious mind. Yeah, so you cannot really say that you have any will of your own, because your choices are determined by the choices that you that are not necessarily yours in most cases, that have been implanted in you by your parents, by society, by any friends or anyone that you believe to be an authority. So this is the first tier. So awakening is just the initial awareness of your world and awareness of what is going on inside you. That is the first layer. Now, going deeper, yeah, the next layer, we are approaching the layer that is called self-realization, or as I call it, the realization of your essence. And this is the major key that needs to happen for anyone who wants to live a happy and fulfilled life, because you cannot live happily fulfilled in the position in the first tier when you are in the personal self, because the first tier is the tier of suffering. Yeah, a little bit of happiness, but the first tier is suffering, predominantly suffering. Now, the layer of self-realization is when you you are becoming aware of the truth of yourself. So, not of the sensory perceptions of the outer world, of your thoughts and emotions, and all the mental concepts, but you become aware of the truth of yourself, of who you are, of the witness, of the one who, who is behind your awareness. And that is the birth of consciousness. So, awareness, remember, is of the senses. Consciousness is deeper. Consciousness is behind the awareness of the senses. Consciousness is the reality of you, or the reality of who you are, of the truth of who you are. So, the process from going through awakening, yes, it is the most beautiful thing. The self-realization is the most beautiful thing, and it has to happen for anyone that wants to be happy. So, if you want to be have happy, fulfilled life, self-realization is the starting point. Yeah, when you know the truth of yourself, the deeper, very, very, very deep understanding, when you see that, when you see the essence, and you see it so clearly that half of the illusions of your personal identity, the personal self or ego, they just are disappeared. Your ego is shattered. It's a very profound experience. And before self-realization, you can have multiple kind of little awakenings, or they are called satori in the Eastern terminology. You can have some glimpses and bits and bobs, but self-realization is a very profound realization. It's like you're not talking anymore about your past identities. You're not talking anymore about your future identities. You are realizing your true identity, the truth of yourself, your real identity. So all conversations about my past self, my future self, they all become nonsense to you, non-existent to you, because you absolutely know the clarity. With the clarity, you know the truth of yourself. So what happens with self-realization is that you grow in your essence. Yeah, self-realization is not is actually it's actually the starting point of any true spiritual journey. Before self-realization happens, it's all kind of a gameplay. It's not that it's irrelevant. It is relevant because that's how we go through the experience. But self-realization is actually a very profound shift. Yeah. So when you realize the truth of yourself, the essence that you are or your being, well, first, what happens is that you a lot of things that that you believed is true are clearly seen as dreams or as illusions. Yeah, so you can clearly see through many misconceptions that you had about yourself and about your life. And what happens after self-realization? The process goes deeper. So the layers of the cake, once you shifted from the first layer into the second layer, self-realization layer, then it starts to unfold and you go deeper. You descend deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And every time you descend deeper or you merge deeper, whichever word you want to see, you uncover different different things of about the reality of yourself and your life. So you get more clarity. You are not mistaken things which which are illusions for truth. You start seeing straight. And that is very important because the majority of the world population cannot see straight. They only see their own illusions of their mind. Yeah, whatever is going on in their head, they see only that. But self-realization is start getting clarity. So the process is that you as you go deeper, you start to grow in I am. Yeah, the field of I am, the being that you are. That starts growing in you. And what happens, for example, in my case, when you have this profound experience of self-realization, you want to run around and tell everyone how beautiful it is. And I see, and when this happened to me, so what my teacher told me is actually keep quiet and let it grow in you. Now, I'm not suggesting that that is the what you should do, but in general, it's advisable that you are not running around and starting talking about this and teaching from this place. You let it grow in you. You let it expand in you because the process has not been finished as such. The process is still going deeper and deeper and deeper. And when you start speaking about that too early on, you lose it basically. You lose the potency of that. Yeah, it may apply to you. It may not apply to you, but I need to mention that, so you need to be aware of the process. So so the process then starts. Yes, the things are always unfolding in this stage, absolutely. So then what happens is in this position you need to go through the remainance of your pain, the remainance of your subconscious, because for most people it can happen, but it's rare that self-realization and enlightenment, or the final destination, happen simultaneously. Normally, self-realization is a very profound realization, very deep and profound, but you need to go deeper. Yeah, so normally, as it was in my case, let's say half of the pain of the egoic existence is gone, but then there is half of the pain of the egoic existence that still remains to be transformed or transcendent. And that's the journey from, let's say, self-realization to the enlightenment, that you start working and unfolding through the deeper layers of your subconscious mind. And that is the time when you start dealing with your emotions, with all your suppressions, with all your traumas, if there are any traumas, because they all need to be ultimately transformed, so your being is free ultimately from all the layers, the deeper, deep layers of subconscious. Yeah, so it is a deep process. And then what happens in this stage is also very profound, that you lose the old way of operating in the world, such as, for example, that you need to have a motivation to do things, or that you need to have a mental a goal, for example, to run after. All of that loses its sense when you see the reality of yourself. So what happens in this stage is that you gradually shift to the new way of operation, and that is to operate from your essence. And what I see is a problem with so many people, that they have the glimpses of their essence, or maybe they even had a profound realization of the essence. But then to integrate it or embody that, this is very challenging. And I know it from myself. It took me about 3 years actually to integrate the experience so I could function in a different way. Because when you function from your essence, first of all, you are not relying on your mind so much. And essentially, your mind will gradually starts to disappear. Also, you are not relying on your emotions anymore, because you see that your emotions are just the substance of the past. So your emotions are just an interpretation of reality. So ultimately, you start seeing through that, and you start acting based on the intuitive knowing. And initially, it's very tricky to separate your intuitive knowing from your mind. Yeah, so you can be confused, not knowing how to act, and you may think, well, is this my mind, or is this my intuitive knowing? And that can happen. So at this stage, what is happening is you separate, you go through the process of separating what is true and what is not true. The deeper layers. So that's what means you grow in being, and that's what means that you embody, you start to embody that. So it's, if you want me to give you an analogy, and that means that would be as divine is entering your body, is penetrating your body more and more and more and more. So it's not just that enough that you have your that you know about your essence, and then you connect to your essence from time to time when you are meditating. It is much more than that. It's that your essence becomes your daily living reality. So your brain starts to operate not on the basis of past memory, past mental memory, but your brain starts to operate based on the high intelligence, or master consciousness, or supreme consciousness, if you want to call it this way. Yeah, so that clears your perception. And every time, for example, that's what we do with my clients. As we go, we clear the perception, so you become more clear in yourself, so you can see better. Then the different aspect is your consolidation of energy. So all that has been trapped in your emotions and thoughts, that falls backward into the essence that you are. So you become as a presence. You are not that collection of vibrational energy anymore. You become a presence. So you grow into the presence, you consolidate more, and then you expand. Now, the Eastern terminology that is said for the essence, the word essence is Atman, yeah, or soul in Christian traditions. So that's what it is. So you grow in that. Then you descend even deeper. Yeah. So you descend even deeper as your mind starts to dissolve the structures and blueprints of your past start to dissolve. You come through the you can encounter, for example, the psychic band there. Yeah, so you get visions, you start to see things. You may be seeing any kind of angels or whatever. But you need to go through that, because it's just at the layer which is activated once you shift deeper inward. So I know that a lot of people stay with a psychic band, but it's not the reality. It's just something on the way as you descend deeper in yourself. So the psychic band needs to be transcendent as well. So if you have visions, if you see things, it's absolutely fine. Everything is fine, but ultimately they need to be transcendent as well. It's just the perception that is happening on the screen of reality. So Atman, then as you descend deeper and you grow and your consciousness expand, you become universal. Yeah. So that is the layer of um, of the collective. You become universal. You see, you experience God or as great nothing and as everything, and that's what you see yourself and the others as. Yeah, you see God in, or the source in everything. Yeah, so you become very inclusive of everyone, because ultimately you experience everyone as yourself. This is the experience which comes deeper as a layer of universality. And then ultimately you come to the point where you have to face death. Yeah, when once you go and unpack the layers of the mind at the very very bottom layer, you come to the point where your your ego is getting thinner and thinner and almost non-existent. When you come to that nothingness, emptiness. So essentially, the process is about emptying yourself. Emptying. Well, a lot of that is done by grace. But you can help the process by meditation, by doing the work. For example, the works that I do that help you to go deeper into yourself. You can do all of that, and that all helps you to go deeper, deeper, deeper in yourself. But ultimately, you are held by grace, and the way to empty yourself is also, a lot of the stuff is emptied from you by grace. So you go through this emptiness or nothingness, which is everything at the same time. Yeah, so nothingness or emptiness and everythingness. You see God in existence, and you see God out of existence. God out of existence as nothing, and God in existence as everything. Yeah, both coming together. This is the deeper layer of realization. Just very, very, very deep layer, very advanced layer. Well, advanced, I mean, there is no something advanced or not advanced, but a very deep, 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 deep layer of yourself. And finally, you come into the layer, the bottom line, which is actually called as Enlightenment. And that layer is of non-existence. So where the previous layer is about I am, the final layer is I am not. And not everyone has to get to that layer. I mean, it's only for those who are drawn to this process and whose time has come by grace to go through that process to that stage. But that is when you die, not physically, not physically, but you die as psychologically, as an any identity. Yeah, uh, so because you go through the personal self, and you go through the essence, or I am, but then I'm not, then it's death. You are faced with death. And for those of you who go through that stage, and or are close to that stage, you need to know what is going to happen, that you will need to just go through and face the fear of death, so you can realize the immortality, that life and death are one. And then you are simply back into your body. Yeah, so you are, if I had to describe you that state, the state of enlightenment is basically very simple. Is your body exists, but you do not exist. Yeah. So it may sound very contradictory, and as I said, it's not for everyone. It's just for those who who will, by grace, go through that stage. And that is what happens. So your body exists, you do not exist. So it's just ultimately you come to the stage where there is just a body and an intelligence in your body, just a high intelligence. And all the mind stuff is gone, the past is gone, everything is gone. So that is the cake that you go through. And it's important that you you have an understanding of the process. Yeah, because a lot of spiritual teachings are, and spiritual teachers, they speak somewhere from the awakening to self-realization, and they just confuse people, and just lead them wander around. So I'm giving you the very straight line, so you understand the process. As I said, it's not linear. It's not that you have to go through this and this and this and this and that. Yeah. So it may happen in a different way to you. Sometimes you can fall backward, especially if you are in the upper tiers of the cake. You can fall backward, and then once you go deeper and deeper, the possibility to go backward also diminishes. So after self-realization, you really cannot go back to ego. Yeah. So once you realize that God or the source, that nothing is everything, you cannot go back to ego. And once, of course, you die, completely die, you cannot go back. You know the ultimate truth, and that is the ultimate state. Yeah, that is the Buddha state, the Christ state. Anyone who's realized that state of consciousness, that's where they are. Yeah. Forgiveness and love. Yes, forgiveness and love is an important part, but all love starts with yourself. The ultimate acceptance of yourself. Ultimate acceptance. Because, see, you can only love someone which we could reach the real forgiveness and love. Well, you see, the real love cannot happen in the personal self. The real love starts, the layer Sorry, my love. Okay. Let me, because I've gone through the explanation of the layers. You may want to rewatch the video so you understand the process that I explained. But love, yes, love is the fundamental thing is love, in a sense that you need to accept yourself, the self acceptance, because you can only love the other to the extent that you accept yourself, because there is always things that you love in the other person and the things that you don't love in the other person. And that means that there are things that you love in yourself and that there are things that you don't love in yourself, because ultimate reality is just you. Yeah, you are the only one that exists. Everyone appears in your perception. So the more you expand, in the acceptance of yourself, the more you can accept and love others. In which layer we reach the forgiveness? Well, you need to forgive yourself, and forgiveness means acceptance. Because what you can't forgive, you can't accept, right? So whatever you accept, you forgive. That goes hand in hand. But the main one you need to forgive or accept is yourself. There is no guidance in which layer it happens. You go through the process, because you cannot see yourself, and that is what the process of expansion in consciousness is. You cannot see the whole of the totality of yourself. That's why it's unfoldment. You see one layer, but then there is another layer that you did not see. You accept something in yourself, but then you see that there is the side of you which you did not accept, that you're still suppressing, that you are afraid to look at. And that is the process. And in which layer it can happen, some acceptance can happen in awakening, but then the main work happens from the moment of self-realization, when you realize yourself, because a lot of the things will be gone by simply your realizing your true nature. But then as you descend deeper, you go through the deeper forgiveness, you go through the deeper acceptance as you descend and go deeper inward in yourself. I hope I answered your question. I mean, if I didn't, if you want to ask me something, you just message me. If there is anything that you need, there's a personal question there. So this is the process, roughly. I mean, it's not set in stone. It's not linear. That is my experience, my living experience. And that's what I see is happening for some people that I work with. So I hope I gave you some guidance, some clarity. And if there are any questions, thank you so much. If you want to ask me a private question, please feel free to message me. And if you have more questions, or you want me to clarify more about anything that I mentioned that is not sufficiently clear, I'm happy always to do that. And for those who want to work with me, I invite you to send me a message, and I'm happy to have a chat with you and see where you are and where you want to go, and see how you can go deeper. You see, in my case, I'm always taking people to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. But ultimately, you go as far as you want to go. As I said, you don't need to go through the end. You can live happily after self-realization, as many people do, and it's absolutely fine. There is no rule. for everyone. Everyone has his or her unique journey, and this journey is what is right and true for you. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you soon. And if you find this video on a replay on my YouTube channel, please subscribe. And whenever you find this video, please feel free to share it with anyone who may benefit from watching it. Thank you so much.